When the Cubs demoted Matt Shaw, did you think he was going to stay in the minor leagues very long? I don't. And I think that he's starting to make that step forward to coming back to Chicago. Not that John Birdie isn't the future at third base for the Cubs. Oh, he's not. He's a utility guy. Matt Shaw has the potential to be someone special over the course of a long career. Although I got to tell you, I've really liked the way that Birdie has played. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about how the Cubs finished the month of April, a disappointing loss to the Pirates, and more, including a new pitcher that was just promoted from Iowa to the big leagues, and it wasn't Cade Horton. So like, subscribe, thumbs up. Let's get into this show right now. Let's do it. And, hey, thank you guys for being here as always, and go Cubs. Love the Cubs. You love the Cubs. And there's a great team to watch this year, even when they lose. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball Channel. Thank you for being here today as we talk about the Cubs, and we try to do it every single day. Cubs lost to the Pirates yesterday. That was a tough loss because they had the lead. I mean, it was a one-run lead, but I don't know. Caleb Thielbar, to me, I'm just having trouble believing in him. And even though his numbers aren't bad, he just doesn't feel like a guy that can come in and get clutch outs. And then that was the case in that game against the Pirates. But a lot to talk about. I wanted to start the show talking about Matt Shaw because the Cubs need Matt Shaw to step up and be back on the big league roster. And so over the last 4 games, the guy's 10 for 17. He's got a .588 batting average, triple, home run, 2 walks, no strikeouts, right? The thing about it is now with defenses in the big leagues, you watch some of the hits, and they probably would be outs. But, the talk was, well, that the Cubs were worried about his exit velocity on hits or on contact made, and they didn't really like the way that, he was approaching things, and, that he needed to do better at this and that. Look, I'm going to tell you this. I think it was a mistake to send him back to the minor leagues. And you're going, well, he was batting, under 200. Yeah, he was. He was batting under 200 when they sent him down. Now, his last couple games, he had a hit against the Dodgers and the Padres before they sent him down to Iowa. I do know that, and I feel like, there were some things that he could improve in his game. But when you're trying to break through to the big leagues and you're someone that's that young and that inexperienced, I mean, this is a guy that was just in college a couple years ago. It's going to take time to basically just weather the storm. And when you look at his numbers when he was with the Cubs, I told you guys this from the very, very beginning. I mean, I told you from the jump, and I'm going to stick by exactly what I said because I was 100% right. And that was that I said that, look, if the guy's going to get on base, you're just going to have to let him get used to the pitching. They gave the guy less than 20 games. They gave him 18 games. He still had a .294 on-base percentage because he was able to get those walks I told you about. He had 10 walks in his 68 plate appearances, and he was getting on base. And it's not easy to make the transition from AAA to the big leagues. I just feel like this guy would be better off in the major leagues. Now, the other part of this is that, well, the Cubs said, basically they didn't like his exit velocity on contact made, and I believe that too. I mean, when you're up there trying to basically figure out a superior form of pitching, right? And what did they call it? Survival mode with, contact-based approach. I mean, this stuff like that. The Shaw had a 22.5 hard hit rate, which was in the bottom 5 of baseball per StatCast. I mean, all of this stuff that we talk about. But it's 18 damn games. I mean, come on. I mean, it takes a while. Look how long it took Pete Crow Armstrong. Look how long it took Anthony Rizzo. I mean, it takes time. And so here we are looking at like this third base situation in this team. They traded Gage Workman to the White Sox because they weren't patient there either, because they can't be patient. Because if they are, they're all going to get fired. If this team fails, this whole front office is gone. Let me tell you something. If this team makes the playoffs, it doesn't mean that this front office is getting extended. And some people feel like they shouldn't extend them no matter what happens this year. Just because there's people that don't believe that these guys have, basically with Jed Hoyer down, that they have it figured out. Me personally, I don't know. I mean, I'm just your friendly commentator over here, just throwing stuff out there. But I will tell you that Matt Shaw for 18 games with a 294 on base percentage tells me that the guy's figuring it out. It just takes time. But you know what? He's in the minors. I think it would have been better if you were like, look, we can't send Gage Workman to the minor leagues. And we have Brujan coming back, but maybe that's not the case. Is Birdie the everyday third baseman now? I think Matt Shaw's the guy of the future. And I think they feel the same way. It's just him getting to the major leagues and making an impact there and being ready for that. Going 10 for 17 is going to get you there closer. It's going to get you there. And there's no scenario when I look at where the Cubs are this year and where Matt Shaw is in his career and just all of it. I mean, look, he's a first-round pick. They need him to go to the big leagues. That's, basically justifies his drafting. Obviously, he can play. He's going to get better and better. He's one of those guys. He's going to figure it out, but it's just going to take time. He's going to have to take his lumps. And so I just feel like eventually they're going to have him there, especially with Workman out of the way. And I don't look at Brujan or Lopez or Birdie and think like long-term speaking, like none of these guys are that good. I mean, Birdie, you got a guy playing third base that's a slap hitter. I mean, so you got to have somebody in that spot that runs in, that has power, and that's Shaw. And Shaw I thought he was handling himself pretty good defensively over at third base. So he's coming back, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said. I'll be back. He'll be back. And I hope he comes back with a chip on his shoulder and a little pissed off and is ready to take that spot and run with it. And the reason I say that is because the Cubs could use that. They need the power out of that third base position, to win games like they lost last night against the Pirates. So the Cubs finished the month of April with an 18-13 record. Still thought it was a great month. Still really enjoy the way that this team plays, even though the results weren't what we wanted last night. These guys fight, man. They're a good, fun team to watch, right? Kyle Tucker might be one of the best players in the game. The Cubs obviously need to go out there and figure out how they can extend him. This team's savvy. They've got veterans. I'm still not comfortable with where the bullpen is. I worry about Caleb Thielbar being somebody that you really count on, left-hander out of the bullpen. He's just not that good to me. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm just not convinced. And I think it would. I honestly feel like that the Cubs are looking around and trying to be aggressive in the trade game, and who knows? We were talking about third base. We're going to talk about that maybe a little bit more later, but maybe they go and get somebody there, and maybe they go out and get a starter, although everybody wants starting pitching in baseball. I mean, that's just the way that it is, right? So this happened. I wasn't sure if the Cubs were comfortable or they felt like that Cade Horton was ready to be the guy. But the other part of this, and maybe they probably thinking somewhere like, hey, you know what, this guy Cade Horton's ready to like have a big league start. I mean, he's taking care of business. He's dominating the walks. I mean, you'd like the walks to kind of be trimmed down a little bit, but all in all, like that's what a pitching prospect looks like, right? But they had Chris Flexen. He was on the White Sox last year. You guys know him. And he had a great, 3 starts in Iowa and 1.16 ERA and was taking care of business. And if they didn't put him on the big league roster, he'd be a free agent. And they need a starting pitcher. we don't know what's going to happen with Shota Imanaga. Obviously we've been dealing with Justin Steele's out of the way. Javier Assad isn't there. This guy gives you length. They talked about that. And hopefully he comes in and he looks like the guy that was so good in Seattle, a few years ago. Last year for the White Sox, the whole team stunk. So, it's hard to kind of go back and go, well, I didn't have it. Hey, man, when your team's really bad, it kind of falls on everybody there, right? So, thinking about this move, Horton's got options. Flexen has experience. He's won games in the big leagues. And honestly, I look at Jed Hoyer and the staff and go, this was a good like stash. Like it feels like Chris Flexen was kind of a stash guy. We're going to stash him over here if we need him. Well, you need him. And there he is. So foresight there by the front office. And hopefully Flexen can continue what he was doing in Iowa. For those of you guys that were watching the game, and I was watching the game, you guys were watching it. Some of you were, some of you weren't. But this Pirates fan, like, I don't know what he was doing, but he just jumped out of the stands and fell onto the warning track. And you can go back and watch the video. It's just insane, But we're praying for this guy. Who knows what was going on? Was it too many beers? Was he on something? Did he want to commit suicide? I don't know. But none of it made sense. I sat there and watched it, and I just thought that this is awful. Like, I'm, really sad for him and everybody that was at the game that watched that. And I hope that he makes it. It didn't look good watching him fly through the stands. It wasn't like he tripped and fell out. It was like he just kind of jumped out of the stands. But as a guy that's worked in baseball for a long time, you just worry about anybody that shows up. You're there to have a good time. You don't want to see anybody get hurt, and this guy's in a lot of trouble. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and I've been meaning to bring this up for a long time, and for the last week or two, is my thoughts on Cubs superfan Ronnie Woo Woo. Like, I love this guy, man. I feel like guys like Ronnie, they make coming to the park fun. When he got kicked out of the bleachers for not having a ticket, it was a mistake. Somebody made a mistake. It wasn't. I've heard internally, like, nobody wants to kick Ronnie Woo Woo out. Everybody loves him. The Cubs people love him. You guys love him. I love him. And these are the type of people that make going to Cubs games and make being a Cubs fan fun. I don't know how many times I've run into him at Cubs convention or at Wrigley, but I just wish him the best. And I hope that he gets back. But when I hear him talk about, and I've read some of the stories, I see battles with some lung issues, about how much he loves Wrigley. Everything he says is kind of the same way I feel. Like, I get goosebumps when I walk through the turnstile, and I get in there and I see the ivy and the bricks and the landscape of Chicago and just the ambiance of the place. The guy's been to like 3,000 games, and I just hope that he gets back for more. And I love that it's a motivator for him. But I've been meaning to talk about this just because these are the people that make being a fan of a team great. Like, they make an impact on people's lives. You just, and why? I don't know, but they just do. They do because they share a passion that we share. They love the same thing that we love. We love the Cubs. He loves the Cubs. Okay. The guy worked night shifts so he could go to Cubs games during the day. He's a friendly guy. I can see him wearing his uniform, like, and when I was hosting panels during Cubs convention. They hire a lot of people to cover the Cubs that don't really care about the Cubs. They're just like, basically it's a job for them. And for me, I guess if I worked for another team, it'd be like that, but when it comes to the Cubs, it's just like something in my heart. I love the Cubs, and I always have. And it's like, whether you're talking about Andre Dawson or Ryan Sandberg or Billy Williams or, the Hawk, you're talking about Ronnie Santa. I could sit here and talk about like Fergie. Maddox. Some of my favorite Cubs, like Mark Grace. aren't Hall of Famers, but that I love them. Davey Martinez was one of my favorite Cubs. You guys get what I'm saying. I want to hear who some of your favorite Cubs are in the comments section, and I know that a lot of you guys are thinking and wishing Ronnie the best as he tries to come back. I really hope that he comes back. Looked a little bit longer of a show today, but I had a lot to get off my chest. I think Matt Shaw needs to be up in the big leagues again, and I think that the Cubs just need to trust him, and they need to get out of the way and basically say, hey, you're going to go up there and fail, get it over with, and then let's get to the success. But let's win this series against the Pirates and then talk about something else. But Cade Horton, Moises Ballesteros, by the way, a 16-game hitting streak. Guys, thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. A little bit, early here to get this show out, but I know it was a tough loss last night, but I'm still really excited about what I'm seeing with this team. I really am. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Go Cubs.